Hey, Steve Zanardo here with Remax West Zanardo Associates. We're still in Florida. It looks like we're going to be home soon. Looks like we're wrapping up what we had to do out here. We just put our sign on the wall, which is cool. Really excited about that. So pretty cool. Yeah, we'll be back home soon. But talking about real estate in Toronto right now, we had our team meeting this morning, like we usually do, just kind of strategize on what's happening with our listings and how to get them sold. Like naturally, we don't have to physically be there anymore. We can do everything virtually and have the same effect. And the results show for it. We did 4 deals in the last 2 weeks right now, and we have another 2 on the go right now, which is quite awesome. So we're going to keep plowing away. We got a few listings coming up that I feel will hit the market and get sold just based on their area. And not to mention, we're still getting showings on properties, which is quite nice. We have a few properties that we had for on the market for a good 60, 70, 80 days, and still getting some great activity on them and potentially offers coming in. So yeah, it is what it is. We're still flowing quite well. Talk about inventory, so redundant, these numbers, I apologize guys. 13,279 units available on the market, which is the same. We've been for like 2 months now. 674 units actually sold. So it's, again, this is, if you want to call this an ebb and flow, where it's basically whatever's coming on or coming off is keeping those numbers at 13,200 to 800 mark, and with between 6 and 800 sales actually happening. So that's pretty much it. We're kind of looking at obviously new tactics back home. We're utilizing a few tactics that seem to be working quite nice. We're the only little sub-branch brokerage doing it right now between me, Mike, and Elisa, our small team back in Toronto, and it's generating people into the property, which is quite nice. Sometimes you need a little bit of break from back home to get awesome ideas and get clients' property sold. So we'll keep you in tune with that. Or we might not actually until we sell them. We don't want to let the cat out of the bag and then give realtors a leg up on what we're doing here. Some interesting articles coming up on the market, and it is what it is. This is the time, right? I'll read a few of them, and these are all alarming. I think everyone during this period should watch that movie, The Big Short, with Michael Burry. Was a hedge fund manager that basically bet on the U.S. housing market failure, and everyone thought he was nuts, and they put him into like temporary insanity, and he was right. So watch that movie. It's got a lot of good points, so well done. I watch it at least 2 times a year because it's such a great film, and also so relevant to how people think and how they, especially in my industry, between mortgage agents and realtors and everyone associated with it, bankers. Everyone's like, they're making a few bucks and everyone gets greedy and they forget about what's really happening. They become so detached from the general public that they just keep flowing, and they're still in their little circle of people that are all wealthy, and they can't see what's actually happening to the general public. And that's a huge issue. This is why it doesn't matter what we do financially or whatever gains we have, when we're the same people, and I will always be. I'll never change who I am just based on financial, blessings, let's call it. But have a look at this. It's basically, I want to show you one. It was, I think it was this one here. Oh, yeah, this was quite interesting. So this is basically a lender. These guys lend money to developers. That if you're a developer, to get money lent from a bank, it's very difficult, very time consuming, and then if you get it, if you don't get it. But this basic fund is they raise money, they raise capital, and they lend it out to developers to build the projects, and they get a hefty return on their money lent out. So what this fund is, I don't know the name of it, but it's a Toronto-based firm, and they're functioning between like 2.8 to 8 billion Canadian, which equates to 2.1 billion American. And so what's happening now is that they actually had to freeze basically investors that put money into the fund that want to cash out, because usually it's liquid, you can put money in and pull money out. But what happens with that, because there's a run on the bank right now, or the hedge fund or the capital fund, that they had to actually freeze assets. Well, this is the first sign where people are getting nervous and trying to withdraw money as fast as possible. Now, in order to save the business and not have a collapse, these guys got to freeze assets, and no one can remove money out, and they have to go for the long haul. And so listen, here we're going to be great, right? Here, what's currently happening. It's this point, it's the pain. So it's as easily as you look at it. So if you can kind of hang in there, and as long as these are decent investments, this will all be good in like 5 years, let's just say. But what's happening now? So they're basically frozen up the short-term liquidity, and what they're doing now is they're I guess striking deals with people that invested money. Like, look at this guy, this firm here invested 115 million into this, or give them capital to lend out. And now what they're going to do with them is that, yes, we'll give you money, but when the projects sell, so you can't take it out prior. So now they have to commit to whatever their projects are in the loop right now, obviously, because they don't want to collapse. My only worry is like some of these paragraphs, like these are just, recorded by Jenkins, which is a managing partner of this firm, and it's, remember like Big Short again, you go back to it, or any historical event where it's like the people in charge of a fund manager or management company or capital, whatever it is, they keep pumping that it's optimism, it's going well, it's amazing, don't worry about it. And on the other side, they're selling, and someone out there is trying to capitalize and start buying. So this is currently what they're saying is that Jenkins, which is the managing partner of this firm, said he's growing optimistic that the market is turning. In the last few weeks, Rumson, which is I think the CEO of this company here, has started to see significant increases in deals being closed, whether in real estate, being sold, or repayment from borrowers, he said. That's a scary paragraph for me anyways, because we know what's currently happening. Now look at this. Remember where we are. We're in Florida. Why are we in Florida? Is it because of the beach? Is it because of the sun? Is it because of, the beauty of this place? Yeah, that's a bonus. But why are we here? We are here for financial gain. This is why we're stuck in Florida. And if you look at this company that's running $2.8 billion worth of a fund, and where their best performing mortgage fund is, you'll be surprised. So Rumson, smaller U.S. mortgage fund, has, and again, so these guys lend out money from Halifax to Honolulu, so all of Canada and basically all of America. And they said their best performing loans right now, they call it a gem. I'll just read this exactly. So Rumson's U.S. mortgage fund has been an absolute gem during the period, Jenkins said. The product is focused on delivering short-term loans to real estate developers, with about half the fund being lent to projects in Florida and Texas, kids. This is why we're here. This is why we're not poking fun back home, but it's like, guys, we gotta figure out. You can't. It's like keep saying Toronto Maple Leafs is your best team. Like it's gonna be hard for them to win the Stanley Cup. Sometimes you gotta pick the winning team. And right now it's these Republican states out here in Florida and Texas, and I'll tell you why. I'll be short on this. I won't get into politics too much naturally, but that's the driving force to this. That's why everyone's moving to Republican states. How do you make money on property, okay? Or how do you get your highest bidder on property? And I'll give a small synopsis on my past and investing and why I kind of focus on what I do now when I do investing. It's basically, if you're focused on just a single type of property, and I know everyone's going crazy with these Airbnbs and short-term rentals and student rentals and all this. I get it. I have a few clients that are in it, and how many calls do I get for Florida regarding Airbnbs? It's incredible. The only problem with a property with an Airbnb and which is a short-term rental, and a student rental, is basically you're only attracting one buyer, and that is usually an investor. And my experience early on as an investor is that, because I had student rentals, and instead of buying one single family home near the college university where I had it, I bought three because I wanted to make more money. I thought it was a real estate genius. At the end, I got kicked in the ass because I could have sold that single family dwelling, had 3 times less of the problem with students, and made 3 times more of the money. So this is why when we buy investment properties right now, I make sure that it fits in a mold where it's not only to an investor, it's also to a single family owner, or a family rather. Because if you look at who's going to pay the most for a product, is it going to be an investor that's based on numbers and no emotion? Or is it going to be based on a family that has an attachment to the nearby school, has an attachment to the area because family lives close by, or work is proximity to work? Those are going to be your highest bidders on your properties. This is why we always do things that way. So long story short, naturally we're going into 10 minutes. Florida used to be an area that was, we all know this, and we vacationed here a million times. So second property ownership, retirees, vacation. The people that lived in Florida, there was really no commerce down here. It's all changing, folks. This is why we're physically here. We're not spending huge amounts of sums to be out in Florida and build an office and build a conduit between Toronto and Florida for no reason. It's because the future is going to be here. If you look at California, when it was, it took off. What brought California to its height? It was basically Hollywood. Because if you look, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's a desert. You're prone to earthquakes, prone to fires. You got no water. Everything's plumbed in from a neighboring state. It's just basically the buzz of the community, and that was Hollywood, right? And everyone wanted to, anybody that was somebody that wanted to be somebody moved to Hollywood, and anybody that was rich wanted to be around people from Hollywood, so brought people there. So Hollywood's dead naturally, we know this. So what's next? It's people re-assimilating to neighborhoods like Florida, or this state rather, that are bringing in real money, rejigging their business, assimilating in the community, and just pumping money in here. Governor DeSantis said that there's a $2.8 million investment every hour in the state of Florida. This is massive. So this is why we're here, folks. And if you're looking for an investment property, you don't need to have $1 million to do an investment out here. You can come out here. We actually have Canadians coming out this week here at the end of the week, 16th to 17th. You can buy a townhouse for $260,000. It'll be a cash positive investment, or you can buy whatever you want. You want to buy a building. You can spend 10, 20, 30 million dollars. You want to buy developing land. You can do whatever. We have it all here, and this is basically the frontier of the future wealth of this state. To be honest, this is amazing. So it's good to be alive, folks. And if you have any questions regarding Florida, please reach out. We'll be happy to answer all your questions and get you moving if you are looking for an investment out this way. And that's it, guys. We'll see you back in Toronto very shortly. Have an amazing day. Ciao.